Some of the most extraordinary music ever recorded never found its audience. Brilliant bands made timeless albums, charted massive hits, and influenced generations of artists. Then vanished completely. These are 10 overlooked bands most music fans never knew existed. Number 10, Coven. In 1969, a Chicago rock band released an album featuring a 13-minute black mass, an inverted cross on the cover, and liner notes listing a bassist whose name was strikingly similar to Ozzy Osbourne's, before the Black Sabbath frontman had ever set foot in a recording studio.
She cuts a man's heart, making you guys shells.
The album was called Witchcraft Destroys Minds and Reaps Souls, and it was pulled from shelves after an Esquire article linked counterculture occultism to the Manson murders, making its genuinely disturbing content too controversial for retailers. What made Coven even stranger was their musical range. Beyond the controversy, they were capable of genuine pop craftsmanship. Their version of One Tin Soldier became the anthemic theme. From the 1971 film Billy Jack, climbing to number 26 on the Billboard Hot 100. Most people who sang along to that song had absolutely no idea it came from the same band that had scandalized record store owners 2 years earlier. Number 9, Shocking Blue.
Have you been broken-hearted once or twice? If it's yes, how did you feel like this first?
Number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, February 1970. Achieved by a band from The Hague in the Netherlands that almost no American music fan could name today. Venus reached the top of the United States charts, competing directly with the biggest names of the era, while virtually no one in the country realized the song was sung in English by a Dutch band who had barely set foot on American soil.
Well, I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, your desire.
The story took an even stranger turn in 1986 when Bananarama released their own version of Venus, which also hit number 1 in the United States. Two number 1 hits from the same song, separated by 16 years, and an entire generation grew up believing Bananarama wrote it. The original recording and the band behind it had essentially been erased from their own legacy twice over.
She's got it. Yeah, baby, she's got it.
Number 8, Hackamore Brick.
Sweet as countryside, and you know the sun shines brighter.
Around 1970, the music world was deep in the era of polished arena rock and smooth California pop. Nobody was asking for a raw, deliberately lo-fi New York band playing music that sounded like it belonged to a decade that hadn't arrived yet.
Well, I was just about to make that sweet potato turn over. Oh, yeah.
Hackamore Brick released their only album, One Kiss Leads to Another, to complete commercial silence, selling almost nothing and receiving virtually no press attention at the time of its release.
If I would reach you.
Decades later, music historians and critics began circling back to that album with genuine astonishment.
I do, 'cause there's a sweet little lady deep in love.
Writers covering the origins of punk and alternative rock consistently pointed to Hackamore Brick as an overlooked founding influence, a band that arrived so far ahead of the curve that the culture simply wasn't ready for it.
Like a youngster in school, you got me grinning. Well, I'm a
Artists who helped define the late 1970s punk movement were absorbing sounds that Hackamore Brick had already put on tape.
I may be mistaken, there are some things that a man must do.
Number 7, Patto.
Anyone laugh?
Musicians who worked alongside Olli Halsall consistently called him one of the most gifted players they had ever encountered, privately and publicly, for decades. Halsall was the guitarist at the center of Patto, a British jazz rock fusion band who released 3 albums between 1970 and 1972. None of which came close to breaking through commercially, despite the extraordinary musicianship on display throughout their catalog. What made Patto's obscurity particularly painful was where Halsall ended up. He spent much of his career as a sideman for successful acts while receiving little public recognition. He appeared as a member of the Ruddles, the Beatles parody project, yet even that visible role failed to bring him mainstream attention. Halsall passed away in 1992 in Madrid, largely unknown outside a small but fiercely devoted circle of musicians who understood exactly what the world had lost. Number 6. The Millennium. Columbia Records gave producer Kurt Boetcher and his assembled collective of Los Angeles musicians the resources to create something genuinely ambitious in 1968. The resulting album, Begin, was a lush, intricately layered orchestral pop masterpiece that drew comparisons to the Beach Boys at their most experimental, blending sunshine harmonies with arrangements of genuine sophistication. By every artistic measure, it was an extraordinary achievement. By every commercial measure, it was a catastrophe. Begin sold so poorly that Columbia shut the project down almost immediately, and the band dissolved before they ever had a chance to build a following. The cruel irony was that the album's influence spread quietly over the following decades, with artists across indie pop and chamber pop citing it as a touchstone. The Millennium made one of the great lost albums of the 1960s, and almost nobody heard it until it was far too late. Before we continue, which of these bands are you discovering for the very first time tonight? There is something special about hearing a name for the first time and immediately wanting to track down the music. Drop a comment and let us know where in the world you are watching from. Number 5, Raspberries. Top 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1972. A sound that anticipated power pop by nearly a decade. She kissed me and said, "Baby, please go." 4 albums of melodic rock tighter and more finely crafted than almost anything else in that era. If we were older, we wouldn't have to be worried tonight. Cleveland's Raspberries had everything required for lasting mainstream success, yet rock radio of the early 1970s ignored them. Baby, let's pretend we could always be together. Treating their bright, hook-driven songs as less serious than the album-oriented rock dominating the airwaves. The band dissolved in 1975, frustrated and underappreciated. What followed was a slow-building historical reassessment. So she kissed me and said, "Baby, please go all the way." Artists including Bruce Springsteen cited them as an influence on their own songwriting, and the architects of the entire power pop movement built directly on their foundation. Lead singer Eric Carmen went on to solo success with All By Myself, but the band that shaped a generation of rock never received proper recognition during its existence.
If we close our eyes and believe it must come true.
Number 4. Euphoria. Before the internet made rare vinyl searchable from a home computer, some albums simply vanished into the world and became the stuff of whispered legend.
It was a letter from...
Euphoria's late 1960s recordings were among those, pressed in small quantities that disappeared from public awareness almost immediately after release.
Together in love forever.
For decades, they existed only as a rumor among collectors who traded information about their whereabouts. Original pressings now command premium prices at auction, placing them among the more sought-after psychedelic records ever pressed. The music itself captured the full kaleidoscopic ambition of the late 1960s West Coast sound, yet its survival as a cultural artifact happened entirely through the dedication of obsessive vinyl collectors who treated every recovered copy as a genuine treasure. Outside that world, the name Euphoria registers nothing. Number 3. Tages.
In my dreams, I'm the one you love, babe. In my dreams, I'm everything.
Across Scandinavia in the mid-1960s, they were genuine pop stars, filling concert halls and generating the kind of fan hysteria otherwise reserved for British invasion acts. Based in Gothenburg, Sweden, the band won a local competition dubbing them the West Coast's Beatles, a comparison that was not entirely unfair given the sophistication of their songwriting and the tightness of their arrangements. The English-speaking world simply never noticed. They recorded in both Swedish and English, released material that was genuinely competitive with contemporary British and American pop, and then faded from even Scandinavian prominence by the end of the decade. With the frontman departing in mid-1968 and the remaining members renaming themselves Blonde. Outside dedicated European music historians and a handful of international collectors, the name Tages registers nothing today. They remain one of the clearest examples of major talent in one country being entirely invisible everywhere else. Number 2. Neon Philharmonic.
Last night, crying on the radio.
Tupper Saucy was a classically trained Nashville composer with an instinct for lush orchestral melody.
Say, princess, do you think you'll ever make it out from the palace walls?
Alongside singer Don Gant, he formed Neon Philharmonic, and in 1969 they released Morning Girl, a strings-drenched pop gem that climbed to number 17 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Things are different now than they were before.
For a brief moment, competing directly with the biggest acts of that remarkable musical year.
A million flower bells peal all over the place.
It seemed like the world was paying attention to something genuinely beautiful.
Where the air is free, free.
Then the story took a turn nobody could have predicted. Saucy was convicted of federal tax charges in 1985 and fled before sentencing, spending nearly a decade as a fugitive. U.S. Marshals finally tracked him down and arrested him outside his Venice Beach home in November 1997.
But I could not see a glimmer
The music itself was largely forgotten long before any of that happened. A top 20 hit attached to a name that virtually nobody remembers, Neon Philharmonic remains one of the most complete disappearing acts in American pop history.
Wild wind blows, born and dead.
Number 1. Stories.
Louis was wider than wide. Damn.
Brother Louie reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in August 1973 and stayed in the cultural memory for decades.
Danger, danger when you taste brown sugar. Louis fell in love.
Most people who grew up with that song can still hum the melody without difficulty. What almost nobody remembers is the name of the band who recorded it.
I'm coming, darling, I'll be there. Darling, you
Stories, a New York rock group, achieved the highest chart position in American music and then faded into anonymity so complete that the song became an orphan, a hit without a home.
Louis knew just where he stood. Come on. Louis, Louis.
The deeper history made the story even richer. Stories featured Michael Brown, who had previously co-founded The Left Bank, the band behind Walk Away Renee in 1966.
I need the way that you make me feel, darling. If you want it, you can be sure.
Brown was involved in 2 genuinely significant moments in American pop history, and most music fans have never connected either band to his name.
There is good in the night.
A number 1 hit that outlived every trace of the band that made it.
Louis, Louis.